Okay. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little breathing exercise first to kickstart this session. Okay. Now, what I need you to do is I'm going to teach you a little bit of a different breathing today. Maybe some of us already know it, but I need you to sit straight with your spine arched. Okay. Your spine arched. And when you breathe in, I need you to expand your stomach gently. Yeah? I invite you to expand your stomach gently. So when you breathe in, you're getting a lot more air in your stomach than you would normally. All right. So breathe in slowly and breathe out. All right. So once again, guys, now please remember to sit with your spine arched. Okay. Sit straight with your spine arched. That's the key. Very good. You're doing really good. Now, this time, when you breathe in, I want you to close your eyes and breathe out. You're doing very good. Now, what I need you to do, guys, is see, we as human beings carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We're always thinking about the past, or we're always thinking about the future. So before you came to this workshop, there were a couple of things that you were thinking throughout the day about what you're doing, what happened, what did he say, what did she say, what did I say, oh, I had to do this, oh, I had to do that, and all of these things are running through your mind. So whatever was running through your mind before you came to this workshop, I need you to now, I need you to, with your eyes closed, look at all those things with your eyes closed. Look at them right now. Can you see them? Yeah, keep your eyes closed and just visualize all of those things. Visualize all of those things that were going on in your mind before you came for the workshop. And now with your eyes closed, breathe in slowly. And when you breathe out, see those things going down from your forehead, down into your nostrils and falling out of your nostrils one by one as the breath leaves your body. See those things going out of your nostrils. Right? We're going to try this again. You're doing good. Breathe in slowly. And when you breathe out, see those things rolling down your nostrils, down from your forehead, one by one, they're falling out. They're falling out of your nostrils. Everything's falling out. You're going, they're going, and they're gone. Now we're doing very good. Keep your eyes closed. Now, one of the things that we also think about, not just about the past, but we also think about the future. So all those things that you were thinking of, that after this workshop, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be finishing this work, I'm going to be finishing that work. Whatever was in your mind that you wanted to do after this workshop, with your eyes closed, look at those things. These are all the things. Can you see them? You see those things? Yeah. Now, breathe in slowly. And when you breathe out, see those things going down from your forehead into your nose, going into your nostrils and going out from your nostrils. See them rolling out of your nostrils. They're rolling out and they're rolling out. You're doing very good, right? Now, once again, take another deep breath in. And when you breathe out, see those things going down from your nose, down from your nostrils. See, they're rolling out. They're going out of your nostrils one by one. They're rolling out. They're rolling out and they're gone. You're doing good. Very good. Now we'll take a clearing breath. Breathe in slowly. And when you breathe out, everything that's remaining in your mind is going down your nose, down your nostrils. You can see it falling out. You can feel it going out. It's going out of your nostrils one by one, and it's going out. Doing very good, very good. Now what I need you to do is when you breathe in, I need you to raise your shoulders. Let the breath raise your shoulders. So remember to expand your stomach and raise your shoulders. Breathe in slowly. And breathe out. And this is the last final breath. You're doing very good. When you breathe in, I want you to this time, let the breath raise your shoulders and raise your cheeks into a smile. Breathe in slowly. And when you breathe out, open your eyes. How are you feeling? Yeah, you can go off mute, guys. Everybody can go off mute, all of us. Yes. How are you feeling?
My God, this is exhilarating. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, right? I do practice mindfulness and all. So breathing is obviously a great technique that I everyday use. But this is something else, especially the breathing out through the nostrils.
Right,
I think
right,
it's a
right,
great
right.
technique.
Fantastic. Very nice. Great to hear that. What about you, Suraj and Kusetti? How are you feeling?
Sir, it is relaxing, sir. Now I am feeling relaxed.
Very good. Very good. And we've got another person over here with us, Sri Rama. Please feel free to go off video. We want to see your face. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to, tell you that a couple of years ago, how many of you have been to, Kritika, have you been to India?
Oh yeah, yeah, yes.
You've been to
I've
India.
lived in
Okay.
India for a
You've
long time.
lived.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So, guys, a couple of years ago, me and a bunch of friends visited the southern part of India, which is Kerala, the state of Kerala. And from one of those friends, there was a guy from North India. Now, North India, and he was from Ladakh actually. So, Ladakh is cold. There's snow over there. It's ice, snow most of the time. So he had never come to South India. And as soon as he came to this, and this was a farm, we had gone to a friend's house. There was a farm. There was this, the ones that you see in the movies, exactly like that. Green fields on both sides, a brown color path in the center, and a lake. And at the other end of it, there was a lake. And this guy said, this guy from Ladakh said, I've never been to a place like this. So after in somewhere in the afternoon, after it just rained in the morning, and in Kerala it rains and it also gets very hot. So we said we're going to sleep in the afternoon, but this guy said no, I'm come here. I am going to go and see that lake, and I want to see this beautiful path. So what he does is he wears a lungi, and he's full on. Okay, he's got his lungi on, he's got his shirt on, he's got chappals on, and he steps out and he starts walking. And he's so excited because on both sides there's this green, lush green grass. So he starts putting his hand out and he can feel the grass touching his hand. He can hear the birds in the sky, and he can hear the sounds of the animals in the distance, and he can smell the fresh soil because of the rain that's come through, and he sees these lush green fields in front of him, and with each step, and he's wearing these chappals, with each step he's feeling even better and better, and wondering, why did I not come here before? Why did I not live in this part of the country before? And as he's walking down this path and his hands are touching the grass, and he can feel that green color grass touching both sides of his hands, and he puts his arms outstretched, and he can feel the grass, and the sun's beating down on him, and it's a hot sun, and there's sweat coming down from his face, and he can feel the sweat, and he can smell his own sweat and smell the excitement in the air, and he's like, wow. And as he's doing that, he suddenly hears the trumpeting in the distance, and he's like, elephants, oh my god, I have never seen elephants in my life. And his heart starts racing a little bit because he wants to see these elephants. So he starts walking towards these elephants, and as he's walking towards the elephants, lo and behold, there's a whole gang of elephants, a whole horde of elephants right there, and he is super excited. And as he gets closer to the elephants, there is one big, massive elephant standing right there. And he looks at the elephant and his heart leaps for joy. And as he starts getting close, as he's walking by and he's getting closer, he realizes that that elephant is absolutely frozen. All of the other little elephants, all of the other elephants are jumping around, trumpeting around, running around, walking up and down. But this elephant is frozen. And this guy's heart goes out to the elephant. What's going on? What's wrong over here? So he starts walking faster. And as he's walking, his chappals break, and little stone pieces from the soil hit into his and scratch his toe, and he's bleeding, and he can smell the blood, and he can smell the sweat, but he's not bothered, and the sun's beating down on him really fast, and he can smell in the air his own sweat, and he can hear the birds going now faster above him as he starts walking fast, and he can feel his heart beating really fast because he wants to go and see what's going on over there. And he can hear these other elephants trumpeting, but he sees this big elephant, and as he gets closer, his heart starts beating faster, and he can look at this massive, gray, majestic elephant, And he starts running now towards it to see what's going on. And as he's running, his feet scrape the ground and the blood is flowing more freely. And he's sweating even more. And he can feel that blood on his feet. He can smell his sweat. He hears the birds going faster. He hears his heart beating faster. And he can see this on this lush green field. There's an elephant next to a tree and all these elephants playing. But this elephant is right there. And he goes towards the elephant and there he sees a couple of mahouts standing, elephant jockeys. And he looks around and he calls one of them and says, who's the mahout for this elephant? And the mahout comes up and he says, it's me. What do you want to know? He said, look at all these little elephants over here who are playing and they're all jumping around and they're so happy. But this big elephant is just frozen over here. What's going on with him? So the mahout says, this elephant was also like this, by the way. In fact, when this elephant was a little baby elephant, it was the naughtiest of all the elephants. It would jump around and play. It was so naughty, it was so difficult to control that we had to tie him. So we put a little rope to the back of his leg and we tied him to the tree. And every time he tried to run, rope would pull him back. And every time he tried to run, rope would pull him back. And we thought we were controlling him, but guess what happened? Even now that he's grown up and he's this really massive elephant, he still believes that rope is pulling him back. And as my friend looked down and he saw, and that rope was a little rope like a thread now for this big elephant. Maybe for a baby elephant, there would have been a big, massive rope, but for this big elephant, it was like a little piece of thread. But this elephant was right there. And that's when the mahout says, that rope is preventing him from becoming the best version of himself. That rope is stifling him. So my question to you, wonderful people on this call today, what is holding you back from becoming the greatest speaker that you can be? What's stopping you? The elephant in this example had given his power to that rope, and that rope and was holding him back, and he was getting stifled. His voice was getting stifled. And this elephant was not in captivity, so there was no physical cage, but there was a mental cage. He was right in there. So the other elephants all jumping around wild and free, and this elephant was stifled. Similarly, what is your mental cage? And this word wild is very interesting because sometimes you have a mental cage, sometimes you have a physical cage as well. I mean, think about it. What do you mean by the word wild? Wild, does it mean insane? Does it mean crazy? No, what wild really means is this. When you take an animal like an elephant and put it in the cage, like in a zoo or in a circus, the animal doesn't get to decide what time it eats. The animal doesn't get to decide what time it sleeps. The animal doesn't get to decide, when the lights are on, then there are all people coming and looking, I can't hide, escape anywhere. And if it's in a circus, a little whack of the whip and the elephant stands on its 2 feet. But if it's outside, and if it's free, and if it's in the wild, it has the decision-making power to say, I will eat when I want, I will sleep when I want, and I will, follow my heart and be as wild as I can be. Now, why is this important? Why is it important to think about a mental cage and a physical cage? A couple of years ago, in the year 2009, my company wanted to send me to the United States and get some business back to India. And in those days, getting a US visa was a big thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a US visa. So I went around asking people, what are they going to ask me in the interview? What are they going to say? Are they going to ask me how many years I've worked, what my credentials are? What are they going to ask me? My boss at that time, he had failed 3 visa interviews. And he sat down and spoke to me and he gave me a ton of advice. And he told me, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then another guy came in and he said, oh, by the way, I've cleared the interview, and I wore a suit and I went for the interview. Another guy told me that, here's my resume. You got to have a nice, colorful resume, because if you have a nice, colorful resume, they'll be really impressed. So I listened to every one of them, and I used to work around 2, 3 in the morning, and my visa interview was around 9 in the morning. And with a little bit of cold, a sniffle of a cold, I woke up in the morning and I wore a nice suit, shiny shoes. I took my resume and I had all of these answers in my mind ready and waiting. And I went for the interview, and there's another guy who was with me. So he finished first and he got through, and I was like, wow, this is cool, really. I went for the interview, and at the end of it, she told me, I'm sorry, we can't give you the visa. Because what happened to me during that interview was all I did was I ended up parroting whatever everybody else had told me. So I said, she asked me, what are you doing? I said, this, and these were all the answers that were in my mind. And she told me, I'm sorry, I can't give you. I said, why? Why can't you give me the visa? Because in my innocence, she said, because you were not able to explain why you want to go to the US. I'm like, okay. So I went back to my company and I told them this is what happened. And they said, wait a minute, we want to send you only. So apply right now back again. So I was, they were kind enough to do that for me. And so I was elated. I said, okay, let's try. But then I had a moment where I had to pause and reflect and try to understand what the hell happened. And then I realized I was listening to everybody else in the world but myself. My own voice, how the elephant had this mental cage. I had given my power away to all of these people around me. So this time what I did is I went for the interview, and my favorite color is orange, by the way. I went for the US visa interview with an orange color shirt, brown color pants, brown boots, and like a orange color peacock I strutted in. And I remember timing myself. 5 minutes later, the lady said, you know what, I'll send you a visa in 3 days' time. I had found my voice. The question back to you, ladies and gentlemen, is how do you do that? What is stopping you from finding your voice? Sometimes it's really difficult to do that. And that's exactly the reason why you are in the session today, isn't it? Because you want to find your voice, because you want to learn. The great C.S. Lewis once said, or the wonderful C.S. Lewis once said, he said, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can certainly start now and change the ending. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, is, do you want to change the future? Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to find your voice? If you are ready, then put a yes in the chat box. Oh, yes. Yes, says Manohar. Yes, says Najima. Fantastic. Guys, time out. Wait a minute. This is supposed to be a public speaking workshop, right? What did we just do over here? What happened? Wait a minute. Tell me something. What just happened right now in the last couple of minutes?
We all quietened down. I would like to share first, if I may.
Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I think over the years, as I was mentioning, right, I am in the education line, and of course, whether I like it or not, I get a lot of opportunities to speak and to MC or to teach or things like that. Now, my problem is it's really in one short phrase is analysis paralysis.
Right.
So if I don't prepare, I cannot deliver. And when I do get into preparation, I go overboard. Like, I research.
So, Kritika,
and
I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to pause you there just for one quick second, if that's okay with you. And I'm going to ask you now,
Sure.
with those experiences that you've had, and you just saw what happened in the last 7-8 minutes. What did you see happening in these last 7-8 minutes? I mean, you came into this workshop thinking, hey, this is going to be about public speaking, right? We want to get tips and tricks and tools and all of those bits. But something just happened in the last 7 minutes. What happened?
We started to relax, and I don't know. I think we were immersed in your story, and
Very good.
we got carried away.
Very good. You got immersed and you got carried away. Fantastic. And we'll come back to your pointers, Kritika. I just wanted to ask this one question first. Yeah. Thank you so much. Kusetti, what happened? Kusetti's like, yeah.
Nothing, sir.
What happened, Kusetti?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing happened. What was going on in your mind while I was talking?
I was thinking about that, sir.
You were thinking about that. Okay, fantastic. Dipali and Manohar, welcome to the session. I'm not sure if you were there for the entire bit, but did you get some of the pieces that just happened?
Okay, yes, this is Manohar. No, I just joined in late because I was heading a chat table on the other side. So with that got over around, I think, 10 o'clock.
Welcome, Manohar. Welcome.
Still mixed up in the timings. I'm here in Miami, so still working out the time differences. When I came in, you were telling your story about how you got carried away by listening to everybody else. rather than doing what you are yourself. And I mean, you were denied the visa the first time, but when you went in as yourself, you did
So,
get the
so
visa.
Manoj, I'm going to pause you and ask you over there. What happened to you while this was going on?
I was still waiting to see where you come out for public speaking, because I am involved a lot in public speaking for last some 35, 40 years. I have been doing, like, things over
Right.
here in with Indian community. We do host shows, and I run university and all that. So yeah,
So
you
you
have
were
to kind of,
so you were relating it back to your experience and figuring out, hey, what's going on over here, right? And
yeah.
you were
I mean, the way I was relating is, I cannot prepare for any this thing
right,
presentation. I can
right.
prepare means I do my research. I find out what is there, but I'm not going to write it down sentence by sentence, because then, as Krutiga, right? Am I
Right,
pronouncing your
right,
name?
right, right.
That you just go overboard with preparation, and then when you start delivering it, you start going in tangents.
Okay,
So
fantastic. Now hold on to that thought. You're doing really good. Okay, very good, very, very good. So guys, check this out. All of us at the end of a good, what's the time now? 9:10 and Indian time, sorry. And we started at what time? Around 8:50, you could say. So the last 10, 15 odd minutes after our breathing exercise, the speaker spoke. And what happened after the speaker spoke? At the end of it, what happened? You had some
reaction.
thoughts, you had some reactions, very good. And some of us, and like you said, Kritika, you were completely immersed in the story. So my question to you today is, and I told you about my voice, what is the objective of public speaking or professional speaking? What's the objective? If you can relate it to exactly what we did right now, because you know what, at the end of that conversation, I asked you a question. I said, are you ready? Are you ready to change? Are you ready to take this and, become the greatest version of yourself, the best speaker? And I had, oh, yes, 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 yes. And you started saying yes. Because at the end of it, there was a call to action, right? There was a call to action, and what I was saying resonated with what, and Dipali says it builds and boosts confidence, resonated with the voice within you. So my question to you is, have you found your voice? And if you've not found your voice, you can figure it on your own. You can listen to little old me for a little bit, or you can take help from Michelangelo. Around a couple of 100 years ago, I think 500 years ago, Michelangelo is walking from his home to the stone quarry where they keep all these big marble blocks. He's 26 years old, and he's a painter, he's a sculptor, and he's coming up, he's upcoming. He's walking, and there's this big, huge marble block in the quarry, and it's always there. It's always there. It's there before Michelangelo was born. It's still there. People are looking at that big stone, big marble block. Some of them are, the other guys who come in to do the marble work, construction work. Some of them are spitting on it. Some of them, their frustration are kicking it. And Michelangelo's a sculptor. So he's getting very angry because he doesn't like the fact that, people are doing this to his line of work. Some people are even urinating on it. And that angers him every time. And every time he goes there to get some of his marble that he wants to sculpt, he sees his big block lying over there forever, moss gathered and yellowed. And he's like, what the hell? And one fine day, he musters the courage and he goes up and he asks the main guy, the quarry, the foreman, and he says, what is with this marble block? And the foreman is like, no, don't bother about it. This happens several times till one day Michelangelo says, hey, listen, boss. He walks up to the foreman and says, listen, boss, I've been asking you this for many years now, for 20 months. You never tell me what is in this. Why is it over here? And it's the biggest marble block over here. Then he's like, these guys wanted to build this big statue, and Donatello was a good 40 odd years, ahead of older than Michelangelo. And he's like, one of Donatello's students had come in and he tried to do something with it. Guess what that block was? So that marble block had a lot of holes in it. It had been riddled with holes, yellowed and cracked. It had been worked on by Donatello's students. That marble block, after 10 years, that guy said, chuck it, I don't want to work on this anymore. Another guy came in. He realized that this marble block is unworkable. He dropped it, and after 25 years, Michelangelo saw that, and guess what was that marble block? What was the commission for that marble block? This was the statue of David. The one that's there in the piazza, this was that statue. And when Michelangelo came to know that the commission for the statue of David was that marble block, he said, you know what, let me go and speak to the guys who paid for it. So he goes to the folks who had commissioned it and he says, hi, my name is Michelangelo and I'm a sculptor. And I know that, you know, around a good 35, 40 odd years ago, you all wanted to build the statue of David. Let me do that for you. And these guys are like, no. We wasted a lot of money. We got Donatello. He gave us one of his students that got completely screwed up. And, you know, the block was not working and this and that and all. Michelangelo says, you know what? I will do it for you. You only have to pay me my fee and I will use the same block. And they're like, excuse me? Do you know what that block is? He says, the story of David is of a person who comes out of nothing and becomes something in life. And that block is exactly what it represents. So I'm not going to pay, charge you for any extra marble or any of those things. I'm going to take that same block and I'm going to make something out of it. And Michelangelo sculpts the statue of David from the lowest quality marble available to become one of the greatest statues or, statues or emblems of defiance in history. And that block is visible. And that block is now, that statue of David has around 31 replicas all over the world. But the main one standing right there in the piazza. Which means whatever you're going through right now, Krutiga, Manohar, and anybody on this, whatever has happened to you, whatever is going on, preparation, this, that, other, can't write this right, that's completely fine. There is a way to find your voice. And we're going to help you today to figure that one out. Are you willing to listen to Michelangelo? You want to understand how? Okay, fantastic. So he gifted us with something which I call Michelangelo's compass. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to whip out a pen and a paper, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so please go ahead and do that. So, and while we are doing that, guys, how did you feel after hearing that story? A little bit inspired? How are you feeling? Okay. So, yes,
It was
Kritika, go
good.
ahead. Yeah. Suraj, yes.
I wanted to say, sorry,
Lazy
let Suraj speak.
Yes, please go ahead.
No, sir, it was good, sir. It was good. Awesome.
It's an inspiring story, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it was inspiring.
Yeah. Something that was lying over there for 35 years. This guy says, I'm going to make something out of this. Okay, so guys, so here, so let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Not yet.
It's black.
Do you see something on it now?
It's visible.
Now it's loading, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yep. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on screen and I invite you to follow after me. Okay, so very simple. So first we're going to do is we're going to draw something called Michelangelo's compass. So draw a circle like this. And I'm very good at drawing shapes, by the way. You can see it. Okay, and then you draw a straight line to dissect it. Okay, let me see if we can get that line straighter. Got a straight line to dissect it. You draw a line across like this. Okay. And then what you do is, let me see if I can do something here. Yeah. Then what you do is, you draw these little lines like this. Okay. These little lines like this. Little lines in the center like this. Okay. And some more little lines like this. All right. And what I need you to do is then over here, put in the letter D. And I'll explain to you what this letter D is all about. Okay, so I'm going to stop share. And everybody's got this? You got it? Yeah, great, fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to go back again in time, and I'm going to tell you of a boy who was 18 years old. This was a couple of centuries, couple of millennia ago, at the time of Alexander the Great. In fact, the time of his father, Philip of Macedonia. So this young boy is 18 years old. His father passes away and leaves him a small little inheritance. And his guardians, knowing that this young little scrawny, scraggly little fellow, skinny little fellow, is not going to be able to do anything with that inheritance. So what they do is they embezzle those funds and they swindle him of that money. And this 18-year-old kid, he's got no money now. He's got no money. He's got no inheritance. He's got no parents. And he's left all alone. And he's like, I need to fight these guys. So he goes to court and he tries to fight in court. And when he goes to court, one of the problems that he has is he has a lisp. The other problem that he has is he's thin, he's skinny. And when he's in court, there are 500 of them over there. And those 500 people are talking all over him. And he loses the case. He gets very upset. And he realizes, if I have to get these guys' attention and get my money back, then I need to win this case anyhow. So he puts in an appeal for the case to be, reinitiated. They give him a couple of months. They said, come back a few months later, we'll look into it then. Here's okay. This little boy, guess what he does? His name is Demosthenes. We put the D over there. That D stands for Demosthenes. Demosthenes says, I have a lisp. So he takes a little pebble and puts it on his tongue and he starts speaking. And he starts reciting his case, the entire case from start to finish. He starts looking at similar cases from the past and starts reciting them as well with a pebble in his mouth. And he starts working on his list. While he's doing that, he lives near the hills. So he runs up the hills every day. He runs up the hills. And he runs and he keeps running up and down. And while he's doing it, he keeps reciting his speech so that there comes a point in time where he doesn't lose wind while running up and down. And then below the hills, there's a seashore. So he goes to the seashore and over the waves, he starts yelling out his case and he keeps shouting it loudly. And so that over these waves, people can hear him. And he does this for a couple of months. He goes back to court. Guess what happens? He wins his case. And this tells Demosthenes something. It tells him that I can stand up in front of a bunch of people and use my body, use the power of my voice to be able to rouse people, to be able to change them. This young man, Demosthenes, guess what he does? He goes up against Philip of Macedonia, which is Alexander's father, and he goes up against Alexander also. And in court, he fights against Alexander. He is the first and only guy to do this. This 18-year-old kid who had nothing in life, because he realized the power of something, which is the power of his body language. A lot of these workshops where they talk to you about, confidence and all of that, one of the first things that we always talk about is the body. Now, we don't have Demosthenes today with us, but we're going to use some of his tricks to be able to understand how can we use the power of our body to be able to project and become more powerful as human beings. Okay, so Yash, Chandrakant, and Hema, if you're with us, please come on camera. Great to have you here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to learn today, and this might be very simple stuff, but it's very, very important. Let me give you an example before we start. The mind and the body. Have you seen in the olden days where you had these charioteers? You had this guy riding the chariot and you had a horse and you had all these horses. So the mind and the body are like the horses and the chariot. The horses are dead, which is the body. Then the mind, which is the charioteer, no matter how much he whips it, says, it's not going to work. So the first and important thing is to take care of your body language. Yeah, very simple. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing is your posture. Very simple, very basic. Please sit straight with your spine arched. Okay, sit straight and take a deep breath in. And now what do you want to do? You want to make sure your hands are on both sides. You're not crossed in front of you. Your hands are on both sides. You're sitting straight and you're looking straight. Now, remember guys, it's extremely important to keep your spine arched. Have you seen soldiers marching in an army? When soldiers are marching in an army, do they go like this? Try this. Put your hands to the side, everybody, and try like this. And see, like this. And now imagine you're going and walking into a war. This automatically tells you, what is it telling your body? Don't, scared. So it's not always the mind that leads the body. It's really the body also that leads the mind. It's a synergistic combination. So you want to make sure that your body is leading the mind in the right way. So what you want to do is you want to sit with your spine straight. Yeah. Hey, Hema, give it a shot. Let's sit with your sit straight with your spine arched. Okay. Look straight. And guys, let me tell you that whenever I'm hiring people, and if I happen to see them coming out of the elevator or in the distance, and if I see that they're looking down before they come for the interview, in neuro-linguistic programming, whenever a person is looking down, that's the emotional space when the eyes look down. So when they're looking down, it tells me that probably this guy is not very confident, or there's something going on in his mind right now, and that plays a factor sometimes when I'm hiring them. So look straight always, all right? Look straight and make sure that your chest is puffed out a little bit. So and now when you're doing this is the first part, which is posture. Now we're going to start from here. The next are your eyes. Okay, so sit straight, Yash, as straight as you can. Yeah, so also Suraj, straight as you can. Now the next one are your eyes. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get prepared to go to war. So you're going to be a general who's going to inspire the troops. So how are you going to do this? There's a line I want you to repeat, and the line is, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay, so I'm going to put that line and I'm going to say it again to everybody. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. What are you going to say? You can go off mute and say that. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. So let's say it again. 1, 2, 3. I am the force behind the fight. Say it. I am a fighter. Okay. Okay, so I am the force behind the fight. I'm going to put it down. I am a fighter. Simple, very easy. Now, when you're doing this standing, when you're standing in front of a bunch of people, always remember to keep your feet shoulder width apart. Because if you spread your legs, imagine you're spreading your legs. Try to spread your legs a little bit when you're sitting. Okay, and now try saying this. I am the force behind. It's funny, right? Don't even jam up your legs, because it'll be like, I am the force behind the fight. No, you've got to keep your feet shoulder width apart, which means the width of your shoulders and your feet have to be in the same distance. Okay, that tells your body that you're in equilibrium, that you're standing straight, right? And that's the most confident position that your body can have, which is your spine is arched, your feet are shoulder width apart, and you're looking straight. This is the natural, most confident position of your body. So once again, take a deep breath in, spine arched, and look straight and say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Let's say it. 1, 2, 3, say it. Go. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Simple. Now, the next step. This is the next one, which is your eyes. Okay, so we started from here. We're going to your eyes. Your eyes are extremely important to connect and lock into people. Why am I saying that? Tell me. Why do I say that you need to look into people's eyes? And I'll give you the technique how to do it. But why am I saying that? What's the reason? Yes, Emma, go ahead. No worries, you can type it down also. That's completely fine. Yes. Don't worry, just do write that. Yeah, so who else can say, why do you think you need to look into people's eyes? And it sounds so basic, but it's really important. Why do you need to look into people's eyes?
It got for confidence, like when we are talking to them, if we see on their eyes.
If you look into their eyes, it gives you confidence, plus the other person as well. He's
Yeah,
locked
it
into
got some attention too. When
Very
we are
good.
talking and singing us.
Very good. And Hema says, so you can see what is happening. Excellent. So you can keep an eye on the people around you. If somebody is monkeying around, you look at them and like, right? So you can do that. Eyes are the windows of the soul. That's very profound, Kritika. Very nice. Okay, so yes, so that you can lock into your participants. Now, how do you do it is the question. In the olden days, they would have this lighthouse. Have you ever seen a lighthouse, people? I'm sure some of us have. You know, you have a lighthouse, and inside the lighthouse, there used to be this candelabra. And this candelabra would go from here like this and like this, left to right, right to left, so that the light would fall on the rocky shores and the boats would not hit. You're going to do the same thing. Check this out. I'm going to go from right to left, left to right, and I'm going to do it on screen now. Okay. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to try to look at everybody. I am the force. So what am I going to do? Spine arched. I'm sitting straight. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. And I go here, then I come back. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. And if I'm doing it in the public, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. You see what I just did? I looked from here to here and here to here. And what am I doing? While I'm doing this, I'm looking into everybody's eyes. Everybody's eyes. So now I want you to do the same thing. Okay, I want you to first look at the people in Zoom. So this is your audience. You're the speaker. You're that army general. You're going to war. These are your soldiers. So look into their eyes and start from right to left and then left to right. So you see, I am the force behind the fight. You end over here at fight. I am a fighter. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So first, sit straight, everybody. Sit straight, spine arched. Okay, keep your head straight. All right. And the most confident people, by the way, guys, they always have their hands on their legs like this, on their knees. Okay, not on their knees, but a little bit towards them. You'll see them just very, very confident people, not like this or not sitting like this slouched. Imagine I am the force behind the fight. No, they sit straight like this and they look and their hands are at the side or on their knees. Okay, so let's try and replicate that. Take a deep breath in. Sit straight, spine arched. We're going to try the lighthouse effect. Okay, off mute everybody and let's try doing this. 1, 2, 3. I am the force behind the fight. I'm a fighter. 1, 2, 3, go. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Very good. I am the force. And try moving ahead a little bit as well. Okay, it's going to be a little funny first, but it really works. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Very good, very good. Now look at the screen above. Look above your screen and imagine that you are speaking to 50,000 people and you're standing right there and you're looking at them and they're standing from right here till right there. And so sit straight with your spine arched and start looking from the left to the right. And you're going to look at all these guys, eye contact, and you're going to say, 1, 2, 3, go. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay. And now try to make sure you look into everybody's eyes one last time. Make sure you're looking into everybody's eyes. Look at the screen and look at the people behind also. So imagine the screen people are your front audience. Behind people are your back audience. So you go to your front audience first, then go to your back audience. Okay. So I am on screen behind the fight and I am a fight. 1, 2, 3. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fight. Got the lighthouse effect? Pretty cool. Okay, very simple. So that's what you want to do. Okay, lighthouse. So we come here. Now we're going to go down here to your face. Remember, people are looking at you. You want to make sure that you're always well presented facially. So you don't want to do something like, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fight. That doesn't work. Okay, you don't want to do that. Or you don't want to be Mr. Smiley and say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. No. So you have to keep a very neutral expression and say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. With me on this one? Very simple. Okay. The next is this. But before we come here, I'm going to go to your hands. Now sit straight, everybody, with your spine arched and take a deep breath in. Yes, please sit straight, everyone. And take a deep breath in. Very good. Now your hands. Imagine that there is a cube over here. There's a cube here in front of you and behind you, and you're in the center of the cube, which means your hands don't go too far out and they don't go too far up. For example, the cube starts from your shoulder and ends at your hip. So the cube is like this. Okay. So when you're talking, your hand should not go above your shoulder or below your hip. So you want to say something like, suppose you say something like, I am the force behind the fight. This doesn't make sense, right? Or I am the force behind the fight. No. From shoulder to hip, and a little bit forward or a little bit backwards. Backwards, of course not, but shoulder to hip. So take your hands in front of everybody, put your hands out there. Okay. Bring them closer to your body. All right. And we'll talk about these later, but bring them close to your body and then say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter, but not too far out. Once again, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay, don't worry about your hands now. Just do them as you wish. Now, move your hands with the lighthouse effect. 1, 2, 3. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay, let's do everybody lighthouse effect. Come on, spine arched, everyone. Sit straight. Take a deep breath in. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Make sense? Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Now check this out. Hands should follow your hand gesture should follow your verbal cues. You can't say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. No, you can't do that. So when you're talking, see how I'm saying when you're talking, when you want to make, see, when I'm saying want to, my hands are want to. So your hand gestures, don't leave them too loose. The most successful people, when they sit in meetings, they have very slow, very determined, powerful hand gestures. So don't leave your hands too loose. Don't clasp them too tight like this. Don't get them too tight. But make sure that, see how I'm doing right now, they follow your verbal cues. So if you're saying, I am the force behind the fight, I am a fighter, your hands also are doing the same thing. Now let's check our hand gestures. All right, so sit straight, everyone. Okay, spine arched. We're going to do hand gestures, the right hand gestures, the ones that you are confident in, and you're going to do lighthouse effect. 1, 2, 3, go. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Fair enough, very simple. In case you're wondering, suppose, I get a nasty little itch over here and it's itching me. What should I do? Or if I want to put my hands in my pocket and I want to play with little marbles in my pocket. Or maybe there's a duster lying around and I want to play with that duster. Or some people have this habit. So there's duster woman and there's marker band. They'll take a marker in their hand and start playing with it. No. Yeah, the audience's attention gets diverted. So what you want to do is very simply, hi Chandrakant. Chandrakant, try sitting straight. Okay, straight, spine arched. The audience's attention gets diverted. So what you want to do is put out the left hand of yours. Put out your left hand. Everybody, sit straight. Put out your left hand. Put out your left hand, everyone. Yes, Chandrakant, please do that. Yash, Suraj. Okay, and now imagine. Okay, and remember, keep your fingers together. Yeah, imagine that this hand, the right hand, is like a leaf falling. You know, this little leaf falling, and let it fall lightly on this hand. Okay, once again, actually, it's not so high. It's typically below your chest, but I'm just raising it up right now. So imagine, once again, this is my left hand, and the right hand is like a little leaf falling, or like a little feather, and it's falling into your hand. Okay, so when I'm talking, I typically be like this, not like this. This is actually below my rib cage. But I'm just holding it up now. So let me see if I can change the angle of the camera. Okay, so it's below my rib cage, and I'm saying, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Now, Kritika, if you have a question, what's your question? And I'll go there for a quick second. Oh yes, Suraj, you're right. That's exactly what we are doing today. So you see, I can quickly come here and I can go back. I can quickly come here. This is just for a second. But don't clasp it. I am the force behind the fight. No. Okay, so don't do that. So just keep it like this whenever you feel, and this happens. This tip is good for you whenever you feel you have nothing to do with your hands. If you feel that you have to, you're about to get an itch or you're about to scratch, there's nothing, the hands are doing nothing. You're not talking like how I'm talking right now. Then just go down there, and it's just for a 1 or 2 seconds. You go down there, oh yeah, sure, and then you start again. Making sense, everybody? Okay, so let's do this. Let's sit with our spine arched. Okay, we're going to clasp our hands very gently. Spine arch, sit straight. Take a deep breath in. Let your breath raise your chest. You breathe out. And now we're going to do Lighthouse Effect. Okay, remember, fingers together. Leave down. Yes, Emma, let's do it. Okay, and we do, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. And let your hands come down now. Try that. Okay, let's try that. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Very good. Very simple. Okay. Now we're going to come to the main part, which is your voice. And why is this the main part? Imagine if you had physical limitations. You are, not able to talk, or there's a person who could just use his face, and even there's no eyes. Maybe the person doesn't have the ability to see, but there's just one thing. Maybe no hands, maybe no legs, but just one thing. And that one thing is the voice. And of course, the mind behind it. Then remember I said charioteer and horses? There's only one horse. That's your speech, and your charioteer is your mind. So these two things are there. That's it. You don't need anything else. So this is the most important one. So now what do? When you say, I am the force behind the fight, you can say it like this. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Monotone. Monotonous comes from the word monotone. Mono means one, and tonus means tone, so one tone. Okay. Or you can say, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Once again, I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. You can say that. And the volume. So that was me pitching my voice. Okay. And there's the other thing is the volume. Volume is very simple. You can go up or down. Okay. Pitching is more horizontal. Volume is more vertical. So I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. So what we're going to do now is I want you to sit straight, spine arched, and on the words force and fight, we are going to emphasize. Okay. So something like this. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. 3 words. Force, fight, fighter. Ready? Right? So straight, spine arched, lighthouse ready, hands, okay, like a leaf, falling leaf, left to right, 3 words. Force, fight, fighter. Here we go. I am, and off mute everyone, off mute. Let's hear us. Let's make some noise. Go off mute and let's do it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay. Now I won't say it. You say it loud and clear. 1, 2, 3, go.
I am the force. Mind you, everyone.
Go ahead.
I am the force behind this fight. I am a fighter.
Very good. Now, Kritika, try to emphasize a little bit more on those 3 Fs. I am the force, and put your body into it. I am the force behind the fight. Now, see how I'm doing this. Imagine you've got 50,000 people standing in front of you and you're talking to them. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. Okay, now try it that way, guys. Imagine that, chest out, stand straight. You're looking at this whole bunch of people that you want to inspire. They're just waiting for you to inspire them. And you're right there. And you're looking at them and you will stress on 3 words: force, fight, and fighter. Let's do it. Go, Kritika, give it a shot. Kritika, sit spine arched.
I am the force.
Very good. Go.
I am the force in this fight. I am a fighter.
Okay. And Kritika, when you say, check this out. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. All right. So you did really well, by the way. Try it again. Yeah.
I am the force behind this fight. I am a fighter.
Very good. Very good. Who wants to give it one? Wants to try this out as well? Kritika, great job. Doing good. Very good. What about the others? Yash, Suraj, Pusetti. I know, Hema, you're having audio, so I'll ask the others. Anybody else who's not on? So Yash, yes, Yash, try it.
I am the force.
Chandrakant, hold on, just one quick second. We're going to give Yash a shot. I know you're excited. Yes, Yash, go ahead.
Thank you.
I am the
I am the
force
force behind the fight, and I am a fighter.
Very good. Very good. Now, guys, check this, okay? I'm doing this like I am the king of the army. Now my whole body is into it. Okay, so my spine's arched, my chest is out, and I'm looking. You want to inspire people? Now check this out. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter. What is this? What is the impression that you're getting when I'm doing this? Tell me. How is this playing out in your mind? What are you seeing? What kind of person is this? And Hema, I can read your lips. You said confident. Yes, yes. Okay, yes, Kritika, yes, yes.
When a person talks with confidence on like with confidence in front of some bunch of people. So like
yeah, go ahead.
People takes him. He will get attention of people. Like
absolutely.
And
yes, check this out. And people check this out. Till now, we haven't even spoken about what to write in a speech, what to do, this, that, and the other. All we've done is what? Posture and gesture. Sit straight and speak. And this is all we've done, right?
Yes.
That's the power of your body. So I'm going to do something really cool for you. So everybody, close your eyes. Close your eyes, everyone. Okay, sit straight. And guys, Yash, if I cut you out there, I'm sorry. We're just a little bit rushing for time. So, okay, so I hope that's okay with you. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much. So, guys, sit straight, everybody. Spine arched. Close your eyes. Spine arched. Take a deep breath in. Guys, what I need you to do now is I need you to visualize that you are standing in a field right now. You are the army general. You are the general of the army. There are 10 lakh soldiers standing on this field. As you look to your right-hand side, you can see all these 10 lakh soldiers. They're wearing green color uniforms. They're wearing red color berets. And they have their guns at their sides. And it's a huge, massive field. And all these soldiers are standing in formation. And you can smell the excitement in the air. You can hear them. You can hear these soldiers as they are whispering and murmuring your name. And you can feel the sun beating down upon you. And you can see these soldiers as they're sweating and standing in the field. And you can smell the fresh earth. You can smell the excitement in the air. And you know all these soldiers are all waiting for you. They're waiting for you to go up on stage. They're waiting for you to talk right in front of you. There is a stage with steps over there. And you can see the stage. And as you look down on your feet, you see those shiny shoes that you're wearing. And you go towards that stage. And you start walking up that stage. And as you're walking up the stage, you can hear the soldiers' chants getting louder and louder. You can hear them calling out your name. You can see these soldiers with their red caps and their green uniforms, and they keep chanting your name louder and louder. And you can hear your name being called out louder. And you can see all these soldiers, the sun beating down upon them. As you go towards the mic on the stage, and they're standing there, and you can feel your heart racing, and you know that you want to inspire them. They're waiting for you to inspire them. You can hear them chanting your name louder and louder and louder. And you can see them standing over there, and you know that they're waiting for you to say it. And with your chest out, you're going to say the one line that you know they're going to inspire them. Say it, people, say it now. I am, and you look at all of your soldiers and you say, I am the force, say it.
I am the host behind the fight. And I'm a fighter.
Say it, look at all these soldiers. Keep your eyes closed, guys, and look at all these soldiers. And they're waiting over there to be inspired by you. And you can see them chanting your name, and you want to say it loudly, and you want to say now, you are the force behind the fight. You are fighters. Say it, everybody. Okay, very good. Open your eyes. How are you feeling?
Confident and boosted.
Confident and boosted. Very nice. Do you see yourself standing over there, talking to those soldiers? Yeah. And how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel?
It's actually what I wish for.
That's what you wish for. Very nice. Kritika, how did it make you feel?
Almost like I'm wearing AR glasses. The VR glasses.
The VR glasses, right? You could see those soldiers. Very nice. Suraj, Kusetti, Hema, how do you feel? Powerful, young, wow. Imagine, Hema, how long have you been in this session? It's been we started at around what, 8:50, and now 50 minutes now, 50, 60 minutes, and you're already feeling young. Imagine, and powerful. Wow, amazing, amazing. Very nice, very nice. And guys, what did we just do so far? What did we just do? We just did body, posture, and gesture. That is the power of your body. You can do this exercise, and if you're feeling down and out, you want to go for an interview, you want to go for a meeting, you want to go for a session, you want to speak to 10,000 people and they're calling your name, you can do this exercise and stand right in front of them. All you got to do is you got to regulate your body. You came in here less, what, 1 hour ago, and now you came in for a workshop that says confident, speaking with confidence, and here you have Yash who says, I'm confident, this is what I want to be. Yeah, you have Kritika that says, I was right there, I'm confident, you know, so this is the power of body language. Yeah, very, very, very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Michelangelo's compass. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. So please whip out your sheets of paper. Right, I'm just going to do a quick pause so far, guys. Are you enjoying the session so far? Yeah, if you're liking it, put in your and tell me how the session's going for you. What do you like most so far about this session? And you can go off mute also and you can say it. That's completely fine.
When I joined the session, actually it's like I'm feeling like I'm going to have like a class, but like the way you motivate us, or like the way you talk to us about that thing, what should we do in our daily life? Like, this is a good thing which I got today. Thank you.
Most welcome, and thank you, Kritika and Hema, for putting in those comments. Really nice, really appreciate it, guys. So thank you so much, everyone. So what we're going to do is we are going to write the name Demosthenes. So you remember that this is the guy who went up against Philip of Macedonia and Alexander of Greece, and he taught us 2 things today. And what are the 2 things he taught us? He taught us the first thing was posture. Remember, always sit straight, spine arched, breathing. Yes. And then he taught us gestures and sound. Okay, so, and gesture. Okay, so this is what you're going to do over here. And there's also a fun way of doing this, by the way. I'll explain to you this concept. So what you could also do is, let me try and rub this out over here. And this is what I typically tell people to do. You know, so what I tell people to do is, I say, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So say, for example, you're about, you know, a week down the line, somebody tells you, hey, you've got 1 more week. You've got to, you know, give a speech. So what you will do is, and instead of doing these dashes, you can even draw a straight line. What you will do is, you will say, how good am I on my posture? So you'll record yourself and you say, how good am I on my posture? After you see your recording, or you stand in front of the mirror, you self-assess, my posture definitely can get better. So you do a session, I mean, you do a recording of your speech and you look at your posture and say, okay, my posture can get better. I'm maybe a 7 on 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you color this. Okay, and this is a great visual representation of how powerful you are and what's pending. So you color this, and that way you can color the entire wheel around you. And the day this entire thing becomes a wheel like this and keeps getting closer to becoming a wheel, that's when you fulfill Michelangelo's compass. Okay, so I know I jumped the gun there, but it's important to know this. All right, making sense, everybody, so far? Yeah, so you can self-assess and postures, gestures. Okay, so it's always important as a professional speaker, somebody who speaks with confidence, to always self-assess. Never go into any sessions, any of these speaking assignments, or whenever you're speaking to a boardroom or a conference, you're speaking to senior stakeholders, and it's a very important meeting and you have to speak, always go in with a fair amount of self-assessment. So you're not scrambling for answers when you come out of it. When you know that when you're in there, this is the level that you are at. Okay. So anyway, so that's, did this concept make sense? If it made sense, then type the letter D in your chat box. So we know that we've got Demosthenes down to the T. D in the chat box. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so hats off to Demosthenes. Now we're going to move to the next person. And the next person, and put in the letter M. Okay, and I'll tell you who M is in a. So let me just stop sharing this. In the year 1921, there was a lady who had won 2 Nobel Prizes, and she was invited to Vassar, which is an all-women's college in the United States, and it's a very, very, very prestigious institution. And they had told her that this is the graduating class of 1921, and you've got to come here and talk to us about this class. And guess who this lady was? Who was this one lady who would have won 2 Nobel Prizes by the time of in the year 1921? Okay, there's she and her husband in fact won it, and if you're still guessing the answer, it's none other than Marie Curie. So M is Marie Curie, and Marie Curie, they called her and they said, can you give us this graduation speech? She said, okay, fine. Now, when the audience was told, and all these young women were told, oh, Marie Curie is going to come, they thought this was going to be some long, complex, technical thing, physics, chemistry, maths, and whatnot. And they were like, oh my God, do we have to sit through this? And they were all kind of, being very nasty about it. But guess what happens? Marie Curie comes in. So they make a formal introduction and all of that. And this is how she starts. She says, radium is no longer a baby. In fact, it's 20 years old. Marie Curie had discovered radium, remember? Now she talks about radium like she had raised the child. And the women in the audience, they start looking at each other. What? What is going on right now? We were supposed to hear something technical and long and complex from this scientific mind, the scientific giant. And here she is talking about radium like a baby. And they look at each other, they chuckle. This is not what they expected, but this is definitely what they loved. And she starts talking about radium, and she talks about how she found radium, how she nurtured it, how things didn't happen, the ebbs and tides. And finally, when she presented radium to the world, she presented her mountaintop. And as she went through this entire story, she took the audience through their ebbs and tides in life, because she resonated with what they were going through and took them through their own mountaintops as she reached her mountaintop. And at the end of it, everybody in that audience stood up and gave her a standing ovation. And this is an unforgettable speech by Marie Curie. Please research it. So what Marie Curie teaches us is tell your story, but I would say story tell your story. So there's a story within each and every one of you. There's a story lying within each and every one of you. And the way to get an audience. Now, for example, what story did I tell you? I told you about my US visa story. Right? So I told you a story. I could have easily told you, hey, you know what, I went to the visa, I didn't get it, and this is what happened. That wouldn't have been a story, right? Guess what? Even the Michelangelo thing, I made a story out of it. So how do you get to that? How do you start, storytelling your story? You got to go one step backwards. And the point over here is you've got to find your story. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of you has something within you which resonates with everybody else in this world. Every one of us, each one of us are flesh and blood, visceral human beings. Whatever we've been through in life, whatever we've accomplished, as somebody or the other has kind of been through something similar, or it will resonate with everybody else. But instead, so don't ever talk with abstracts and cliches and concepts. Talk about yourself and what happened. I'll give you another example. When I do goal setting workshops, can you believe who I talk about? If you go to Google and you type in the words prolific goal setter. Okay, let's see if that's working. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type in the words prolific goal setter. You know what a goal setter is, right? A goal setter is somebody who sets goals and who achieves it. What the heck is a prolific goal setter? A prolific goal setter is somebody who sets goals, gets it, goes after goals, another goal, sets another goal, gets it, sets another goal, gets it, sets another goal, gets it. And if you put prolific goal setter in Google, guess in your first 10 list who comes up. There's a gentleman by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is somebody, when he was young, his father was a drunk, by the way. He was a Nazi cop who was a drunk, and he would come home in the night. Arnold Schwarzenegger, an elder brother, and not a lot of people know about this. Arnold Schwarzenegger had an elder brother who was a strong guy, and Arnold was this lanky little fellow. And his father would take out all the frustrations of post-war and all in small little village called Thal in Austria. Nobody even heard about it, and they were dirt poor. And Arnold's father would take out his belt, look at his son in his drunken stupor, this little boy Arnold, and say, "You're not my son. You see this bigger fellow? He is my son. You're not my son." And take out his belt and whack him. Small little kid, and he used to whack him. And after he started, and what happened is, over a period of time, Arnold said, "You know what? I can't take this anymore." Because guess what? When he was 15, his parents told him, "Listen, we are dirt poor. There's no money in the house. So Arnold, if you want to stay in your own house, you got to pay rent. Otherwise, get out." Imagine what were you doing at the age of 15? I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have, difficult stories to tell, but this is what Arnold Schwarzenegger went through. Now, a lot of people who went through this kind of story, a lot of kids, if you study psychology, a lot of them get into depression or drugs, commit suicide, this, that, and the other. Here's what Arnold did. He said, "I am going to show these guys." Arnold goes after this. He goes to the gym even on Sundays as a kid. He can't enter the gym on Sundays. Those days, Sundays used to have the gyms closed. He would climb up the walls, scale the walls, open the window, nobody's in the gym, jump inside, start working out. Arnold won the Mr. Olympia, 7 times, Guinness Book of World Records. Then he moved to America. And he said, "I want to become a movie star." I mean, if you and I won the Mr. Olympia once, be like, yes, till the age of 18, 19. Like, remember 100 years ago, I won Mr. Olympia. This guy did it 7 times. Then he goes to America, can't speak English, has no money, is nobody's son, is nobody's friend, has no contacts, no connection. Imagine if you are in China right now on the shores of Beijing, and hopefully now if you can speak Mandarin, none of us can speak Mandarin. Imagine right now you're standing in Beijing, you can't speak English, you got no money, no friends, nobody, nothing, and you're standing right there. That's Arnold in America. So he goes there, he's got no qualification, no job, doesn't speak English. He's just won these titles. Whatever money he has from these titles, he's put to travel to America. Nobody gives him a job. He goes knocking on doors, says, "I want Mr. Universe." "So what? You look like a monster, get out." So the only job that Arnold gets is of a bricklayer. Guess what Arnold does? In a couple of years' time, he starts his own construction company. And a lot of people don't know this, that even before he joined Hollywood, Arnold was already a millionaire. So Mr. Olympia, millionaire, then he joins Hollywood. He becomes what? Highest paid movie star of the 80s and 90s. Then he gets into the restaurant business, successful there. Then he becomes the governor of California, 2 terms. People are like, what the hell? What's wrong? I mean, what is with this guy? We enter one career, we struggle our whole lives, and we succeed in that one career. We don't sometimes even become the best in the world in that career. This guy enters multiple careers. And whichever career he enters, he becomes best in the world. He's not just successful at one thing, he is super successful at many things. He is a prolific goal setter. How does he do this? Would you like to know how Arnold did this? This was Arnold's secret. Arnold said that every day, at the start of every year, I take a little index card out and I would write the 5 things that I wanted to accomplish this year. The 5 things. I would take those 5 things, put it in my wallet, that index card, put it in my wallet. And whenever I woke up in the morning, I would take that card out and I would look at it and look at those 5 things and make sure the entire day revolved around those 5 things. Then when I put it back inside, then before going to sleep in the night, I'd look at those 5 things again and figure out what I worked on, what I need to work on, and put it back in. And Arnold did this year after year after year. He said, I optimized every single minute of my life. Check this out. This young guy, in the morning, he's going for English speaking classes. After that, he's going to work as a laborer. Then he's going for acting classes. Then at the end of the day, he is going to the gym. 4 things in a day. No friends, no family, no support. We worry about who's going to make our food, who's going to make protein shakes, who's for the gym, where am I going to get the money? Anil on his own, one-man machine. Amazing. Now, why am I telling you this story? This part of Anil's life, which is my father used to beat me. I was a construction worker, millionaire. All of this stuff never comes out in the public. Anil never talks about this. He only focuses on what he did to succeed. If you see all of his speeches on YouTube, the speeches that broke the internet and all of that, it's about Anil's success. And Anil teaches us that and he does it is because of the fact that he teaches us that focus only on the things that make you successful. Forget about the pain, forget about the past. Focus on things that make you successful and you will succeed, which is exactly what he did. Point is, why am I talking about him today? You don't need to tell everything about your life at all forums. You need to find something that is suitable for this forum. For example, I have so many analogies from my life that I could have shared today with you, but I shared my US visa example because that fit in to me listening to other people and not being confident and then becoming confident on my own. So the first thing to remember is look at your life story. What has happened in your life? And find your story that is apt for the occasion that you're going to be presenting. Like Anil does, he picks out pieces and he presents only those pieces that are apt for those situations. Same thing with you. You have a lot of stories in your life to tell. Pick up those pieces. Again, don't talk about somebody else as much. Don't talk about abstracts. Don't talk in cliches. Talk about yourself and find your story. So the first lesson is find your story. And once you've found your story and you're going to speak to an audience and you're going to speak to people, then tell your story like Marie Curie, which is radium is not a baby anymore. It's 20 years old now. Start telling it like a story. And so it's going to take a lot of time to for each and every one of you. So typically when I do a whole day workshop, but we go through this process where everyone has the opportunity to go through the story. So what I want you to do is, if you could, after this workshop, after the session today, sit down, pause and reflect and draw the timelines of your life and try to look at what your story is. Find your story. And then if you could pick up one piece and turn it into a story, and imagine your storytelling right now. Imagine your storytelling to a rapt audience. What is it that you would create out of that story? And so the important lesson to take away is find your story. And after you found your story, what will you do? Storytell your story. Now, there might be something which is your only one story that you tell everywhere. That's your life-defining story. That's completely okay. If that's what resonates within you, if you say that to people and tell that to people with the conviction that you have, people will buy into what you're saying. Okay. So very simple. What are the 2 lessons that we discovered so far? What's the first one from Arnold? Find your story. And once you found your story, what do? You storytell your story. And how do you storytell your story, by the way? How did I tell you the story about the elephant and the Michelangelo? How did I do that? What is the technique that I used? You know what is the technique that I use? You want to know? I use a technique called the Sensity Technique, which is what I was saying is you can hear the birds above you. You can feel the grass around you. You can smell the excitement in the air. You can see the soldiers in their green dresses. And we had Pritika saying that I felt like I was watching VR, because as you keep inputting those bits in your story. So for example, when I told you Anil's father used to take out his belt, I could have easily said, so there's something called as story showing, and there's something called as storytelling. Storytelling is when you say that, you're going to walk up the stage and you're going to talk to all of your soldiers. That's the story. Story showing is you're going to bring out the story through sensory inputs. For example, I can easily say that man entered the room and he was very upset. Or I can say, when he entered the room with heavy footsteps, he banged on the door and he was frowning and there was smoke coming out of his nostrils like an angry bull. And he looked at us with big gnarly eyes. What does this tell you? The man was upset, right? He was angry. Or I could have either said that man entered the room and he was very upset and I was scared. But if I did that, I would just be telling you what it is. So look up this term story showing. Okay, and story showing will help you tell your story with sensory inputs, right? So far with me, everybody, making sense what we are talking about today? Okay, so let's go back to our little Michelangelo's compass really quickly, whip that out. And what we're going to do is, okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Visible, 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 abracadabra, and should start now. Can you see my screen? If you can, just give me a thumbs up, somebody. Not yet? I think it should come right now. There you go. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's put it here and let's say, and we're going to write over here Marie Curie, or just put the word Marie also if you want. Okay, Marie Curie. And the first lesson. So what's the first lesson we learned, guys? From Arnold, what's the lesson that we learned? Find your story. And what is the lesson that we learned from Marie Curie? She said, and I've got the world's best handwriting, by the way, so I'm so happy that you're already enjoying this lovely writing of mine. Story, tell your story. Okay, and the tip that I gave you was story showing. Okay, so this is Marie Curie. So far with me, how are you finding these two tips? So tell me, folks, we take a quick pause and tell me how are you finding these two tips? Great. Yeah, making sense. So let me ask Kritika. Kritika, how are you finding? Is it settling in? Are you understanding?
Yes, because you told us with stories, so it sticks.
It sticks. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. So Kritika, thank you for that very nice answer. So that's inspired me to share with you something. You know, have you ever when you see movies? Okay, let me ask you a question. Kritika, let's do this with you. Kritika, what's your favorite movie?
I just rewatched Kal Ho Na Ho. So,
Kal Ho Na Ho, right? What's your favorite scene in Kal Ho Na Ho?
I actually like the song, one of the song.
Which song? Which song?
One of the song scenes.
Okay.
I forgot the lyrics.
Before that song happens, what is the reason for that song? Before that song happens?
Oh, the main characters find out that they're in love with different people, but yeah.
Okay. And when was the last time you watched Kal Ho Na Ho?
This was yesterday, so that's why it's fresh in my memory.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've watched it like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
10 years ago. And tell me something. 10 years ago, when you watched Kal Ho Na Ho, you know, that day when you watched it the first time, that very same day, you also spoke to your boss, by the way, at work. Do you remember what he told you?
No.
But do you remember Kal Ho Na Ho scene from that day, from 10 years ago?
Yeah. 10 years ago, I know.
You remember it, right? Why do you remember Kal Ho Na Ho? So this is the power of stories. And like Kritika, you very rightly said, it sticks in your mind because you can recollect visuals from movies and the stories that you really like because there's a picture painted in your mind. Now, what's the logic behind that? Logic, guys, is very, very simple. 70% of us, or most of this planet, really is visual learners, or the eyes actually take in the most information. Now, why is it? You have all these training cliches, right? We are visual learners, 70%, and I was about to say that myself. But here's the science. In the olden days when we were Neanderthals and we were roaming around in little chaddis and spears in our hands, if we could see a saber-toothed tiger running from the distance, we couldn't hear the tiger, we couldn't smell the tiger, we couldn't taste the tiger, of course, but we could see it. Or we couldn't touch the tiger. Or if there's a mountain, a volcano erupting, you can see it from the distance. So over a period of time, the eyes evolved as the highest or the most intense or the source of information that was the most potent for us as human beings, as a species, to survive. And hence, let me give you an example. You're sitting in a room right now, okay, touch wood, say you can hear from the neighboring room, you can hear sound that sounds like crackling, sound like fire. Before you even hear that sound, what happens? You can smell something's burning. Something's burning. And that's the first thing that hits your nose, the first sense. Then you start hearing something and you say, oh God, looks like, there's some fire over there. I can hear the sound of fire and there's this sound of fire starting. But you're still fine. You're not alarmed or anything. You're like, okay, let me go and investigate. You go to the room next door and you touch the doorknob and it's hot because room inside there's fire. And as you approach, the smell intensifies, the sound gets louder, gets magnified, and you touch the doorknob and you get this little, in the word in Hindi is chatka, right? You get this little touch on your hand gets singed a little bit. And you're like, what the hell is going on? You're still not alarmed. Then you open the door and you see these flames in the room and you're like, run for dear life, run away. Because this is what tells you what you need to do. So if you have eyes that are, and human beings having eyes, this is that, encyclopedia that tells us what our actions are, what determines our actions, not the ears, not the nose, not the touch, not the taste. So that's the reason why painting a picture in somebody's mind is so crucial, because all the information goes in through here and then it kind of filters down through here. So when I'm telling you stories also, I don't start off by saying that you can hear the elephants trumpeting. I will start off by saying that you can see green fields. You can see the army in front of you. So I start off and I engage your eyes. Similarly, when you start doing story showing, engage your eyes first and then move on to the other senses. And what is the second one? You want to engage the ears next. After the ears, you want to engage the nose next. And then you want to engage touch as well. So the nose and the touch go hand in hand, but it's the eyes first and it's the ears. That's how I tell the story. So Michelangelo can see this big stone slab in the quarry. That's what I told you first. Then I said he spoke to the foreman. I went for the ears next. And while I was talking about the stone, I said, people were urinating on that stone, people were kicking it, and that visual was coming into your mind. So first the eyes, then the ears, and then you can engage the other senses. Yeah, so that's how typically you want to do your stories. Do you like this example? Made sense? Yeah. Nice tricks for you to be able to tell your stories. Spilling the beans over here for you. So okay, so this is Marie Curie. Now the next one is okay, I'm going to share my screen back again really quickly. And I know I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to fly through these next two. Is that okay if I go a little bit fast in these next two? I think we've done quite a bit so far, right? So the next two, okay, is A, and the last one is D. And we'll come to A and D. Okay, so write down A and D. And here is what comes under A. In the year 548 AD, I don't know if you've heard of this person, but you should look her up. Her name is Theodora. She is a princess in Constantinople, which is today's Istanbul. Her husband is the Emperor Justinian. Constantinople is under attack. And Justinian and all his generals are saying, let's run, like how you looked at the room with fire, right? That alarmed them. They saw the ships coming. They said, let's run from here. Let's get out of here. Theodora has been somebody who was born and brought up in a circus. Somebody who was a dancer, who was an actress. She used to entertain people. She was not from the ruling class, but Justinian fell in love with her, married her for a very special reason, because there was this power about this lady. And when the troops attacked, and when people said, and there's this very eloquent speech that she's put out in that year 548 AD, when the troops attacked, she told Justinian, she said, you know what, if you want to run, you can run. If you want to hide, you can hide. Because these guys are going to take their ships and they were going to go away. If you want to take your ships and go away, go away. You've got all the gold already filled up in the ships. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to lose your people and you're going to die with the royal robes around you. Do you want to do that? You want to be buried with the royal robes? And Justinian said, I want my people to bury me. I don't want to be buried in the royal robes. So then Theodora said, then you know what to do next. And after that speech, of course, not as eloquent as she was. After that speech, Justinian gathered his generals and said, chuck all of this, empty the ships, get the soldiers back, let's fight these guys. And he won the war. So Theodora, and by the way, when she started this speech, this is what she said. She said, I am a woman. It's not my place to talk in front of you, because in those days, it was a society which men prevailed in. Said, I am a woman. It's not my place to talk in front of all of you generals, but I would rather defy customs to save our country than not talk. So this is what I'm going to say to you today. And this is how she started. Very, very strong speech. And the way she said it, it hit them. It changed their hearts and minds. It changed the husbands' hearts and minds. It changed the hearts and minds of the men who were there. And this is the power of speech. You can do this too. Sometimes you yourself are the message. Like she said, I'm a woman and this is not my place to speak, but I'd rather defy custom than see our city burn down. And that's why I'm speaking. It hit them really hard because they were running away, and she called out their cowardice. So whenever you are using speech, check how much of emotions, how much of emotions are you using within that speech? What kind of language are you using? If it's a very flat speech with no emotions in it, if there are no words of emotions, then you know what happens typically? Check this out. Check this out right now. I'm going to show you my screen. This is what happens. And let me know when you can see my screen, please. Okay. This over here. Okay, I'm going to put it out over here. This over here is your brain. It looks like a gun, I know, but this is your brain. This first part on top is your neocortex, so the thinking brain. And I'm sure some of you already know this. The second part over here somewhere is your emotional brain. And the third part over here somewhere is your survival brain. So these guys were just thinking, we got to take our ships, we got to run. Oh my God, survival brain. Oh my God, we're going to get attacked, we're going to get killed. So there were only two parts of their brain that were communicating. And this little thing over here, in their brains, this had shrunk. Now, Theodora didn't know neuroscience, but she was pretty good at it. Sure, she should have been a neuroscientist today, right? So what she did was she did emotions. She said, I'm a woman, it's not my place, and you want, and will you die, and this and that and the other. And what she did is she spoke directly to this brain. By the way, this is what all great salespeople do. So when I train workshops on how to sell and selling skills, even the best of the sales guys, what they typically do is they don't go with the first part and the third part. They talk direct emotions. And that's why they say sales is about trust. So if you have to sell something, then you've got to get the other person's trust. How do you get it? You can't get it through analytics. You can't get it through survival. You got to get it through emotions. So when you are speaking, your speech should activate. Like when I told you the Arnold story, I told you about a father used to beat his child. That's the emotional part of it. That's the emotional content. That emotional content ignites. And when that happens, the power of this little limbic brain, it's called, it fills everything around it. And you say, right, I'm overwhelmed with emotion. When a man sees a beautiful girl, I am overwhelmed. So because it's the limbic brain that's coming out, or you hear a sad story, you're watching something on television and you're saying, my God, this dam of tears has overflown and I can't do anything, I'm paralyzed. That's what the limbic brain does. It spreads out everywhere. The question is, you need to use emotional content to attack that brain and expand it, so that all the neurotransmitters form that brain, all the neurochemicals seep into everywhere. And now that brain acts as your hook and you've got them. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. did, right? He said, I have a team that the children of this country, and he kept on using those emotional pieces and people start getting hooked. Guess what? I know Hitler is a really, really evil guy, but he was an exceptional orator. And people who were in Germany in those days who actually witnessed Hitler speak, they would say it was like taking a shot of cocaine to your mind when Hitler spoke. And we were standing right there looking at him and we were completely hooked into what he was saying, because all he was doing was he was activating the limbic brain. Same thing you can do. So when you look at your content, you've got to figure out how much of my content is emotional, or is it just transactional? Is it numbers? And if it's that, then it's not going to fly. So very, very simply, what you're going to write over here is we're going to write emotional language. So please write that down in your sheet. Emotional language, very, very important. Okay, very, very important. Emotional language, extremely important. So now what you've done is you've got posture, you've got gesture, you're good. You found your story. You've told your story like a story. You story. So and while you were telling your story, you use a lot of emotional words, and people are hooked. Everybody's hooked into your story. But after your story is over, towards the end of the story, remember what we said at the start? The goal of professional speaking is to get people to act, to react. So which means after they're hooked, it's not like a movie where you say, oh, that was a great movie, clap hands and go home. No, it was a great movie. That's a movie, but this is a speech. You hook them into your speech, and now you've got to get them to act. So the last part over here, and that's where the A comes in. The A stands for Abraham Lincoln. And the reason we have Abraham Lincoln over here today is in 1963, there was this horrific war called the War of Gettysburg, right? And in this war, a lot of them died and things like that. And Abraham Lincoln was called upon to speak. Abraham Lincoln, ladies and gentlemen, gave a speech of only 270 words. And people say that, oh, you know what, when he was on the train, he kind of scribbled on the back of a tissue paper, and that's what he spoke. But that's not really true. That's a myth. The fact is, Abraham Lincoln took 2 weeks to perfect a speech of 270 words. And guess what was the specialty of the speech? I'm going to read, I've put down the numbers over here. In 270 words, 6 times Abraham Lincoln says the word dedication, which is an action word. So he says, I need your dedication. We need to be dedicated. So he's goading them into action, dedicated. Then he says, and from the set of words he uses the most often, he uses we and us and our. These 3 words, 14 times in his speech. He never says I, he never says you. He always says we, us, our, dedication. We, us, our, dedication. So we're all in this together. Let's get dedicated. Let's do this. Let's change the country. And people who listen to that speech, they said, let's do it. Let's change the country. That was the call to action that Abraham Lincoln put in his speech. So at the end of your speech, it's extremely important to put in a call to action. It tells people, now you've heard me out, like I'm telling you right now, after this session's over, go back, look at your Michelangelo's compass, record yourself, put in the emotional content. So Abraham Lincoln does the same thing. He puts in a call to action and people are like, I am dedicated. Or Hitler does it and he says, okay, let's take up arms. This part is really important. Making sense, everybody? Does this sit well with what you're saying? I know we're just going through this, but if it is, and maybe somebody can tell me, what do you think about this? So thoughts, people, thoughts, words, inputs, what do you think about this particular piece, which is call to action? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Hima, yes. And I think, so Hema, I know your audio is a little bit acting up a little bit. No worries. You can type that in. Kritika, you want to say something? Then Chandrakant is here. Yash is here. Atik is here. What do you think about these 2 pieces, which is your call to action and your emotional language? What do you think about this? How often do you have these in your speech? Now, when you go back and you look at all of the speeches that you've given, all of the times you've spoken, how cognizant are you that these should be included in your conversations? That's really the question. What do you think, Ritika?
Like for me, I'm in sales, right? Like business development, so to speak. And so these 2 things are really something that's ingrained in our profession, that we have to emotionally appeal, and we always have something for the other party to act on. Doing this in a speech, I think, is absolutely critical. It works in the same way. I can see the formula. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if you're standing in front of a bunch of 10,000 people and you tell them to do this and they listen to what you're saying. You can arouse masses of people. You can rouse them to action. So this is the really cool part here. And the last one, D. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit pompous over here and say that the last one, D, actually stands for next. Okay, that's my tip at the end. And my tip is very simple. Before you even craft your speech, share the idea with somebody. Don't speak out in front of somebody. Don't record your speech and show them, because if you do, they'll start judging you. You already have Michelangelo's compass. You don't need to worry about them. All you need to do is you need to sit down with the coffee or tea, whatever your favorite beverage is, and exchange information and say, hey, I'm going to speak about this one. I'm going to speak out, get the most. Don't go to a lot of people, maybe just one or two people, and share the idea with that person and get ideas from that person. So that's pre-speech. Okay, so this is pre-speech. Post-speech. Okay, post-speech, what you want to do is you want to make sure that once your speech is done, you sit down, you pause, and you reflect. And the greatest of speakers, what they do is they pause, they reflect, and they try to understand what happened, what went wrong, what went right, what's happened. Okay, so let's do Michelangelo's compass once again, right? So let's sit straight, everybody. Straight, shoulders, spines arched. Take a deep breath in. Okay, and the first thing we learned today was posture. The second thing we learned today was gestures. What did we learn in gestures? Kritika, will you be my star student?
Yes, since I came on board first, yes.
Yeah. So what did we learn in gestures? So
And gestures, as in, yes. To make sure you sit straight, spine is arched up, and then eyes are making a lighthouse sweeping movement.
Fantastic.
And then,
then
yeah, okay.
Positive, normal, neutral facial gestures. Okay.
Yeah.
And remember the hands, hip.
Yeah, the cube.
Yeah. To your hip to shoulder ratio and the cube around you. Hands are up to first.
Yeah.
And the voice. Your voice. I remember the words. I am the force behind the fight. I am a fighter.
Yeah.
Something I'm guessing we'll always remember this one. And the exercise of visualization. When you want to go in for a meeting or you want to get pumped up for it. Okay, so that's what Demosthenes taught us. Now, once we are ready, and if you ask me honestly, if you know this much, if you can do this much, you can do really anything you want to do. But then the important part is this helps you become confident, say what you want to say, how you want to say it, but there's also something about what you want to say. So find your story. So look back into your life and look at all the important phases, the ups and downs, and pick out pieces, cherry pick pieces that you can share with other people. Now, once you've picked those pieces, like how Arnold picked his pieces, he found a story, then you do what Marie Curie did. You take that and convert that into a story. And you've got AI tools today that help you. Also, you can write it down like a story and imagine you're talking to a small child. Imagine you're talking, a great idea is take one of your baby pictures. Whenever you get angry, by the way, and you want really upset at somebody, the best way to quell your anger is to look at your own little picture of maybe a 5-year-old as a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old. Look at it and say, I hate you, Dexter. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't hate Dexter. You're so great. And you automatically calm down. So similarly, look at one of your pictures as a child and tell the child a story. Or if your own child, if you have children, then tell them a story, and that's the story that you want to tell, and they'll give you reactions. Yeah, if you have the benefit of children or grandchildren, they'll give you reactions. So storytelling. After that, what did we do with Abraham Lincoln? We said, Theodora's story, emotional story. I'm a woman and it's not my place to speak, but I defy you, and then call to action. We use action verbs. We as are dedicate. Remember, the tip is, and I didn't give you this earlier, use action verbs. March 4th. what is the one that MLK ended his speech with? He said, there's something that he used towards the end. I can't recollect now, but the idea is march forth. So verbs, go forth. So all of these words that are verbs, use action verbs over here. And the last two things are, before you even start, share your idea. Remember, never present your idea. You will always get a judgmental human being, no matter how close a person is to you. And that person will shatter your Michelangelo's compass. So share your idea with somebody, or one or two people at the max, not more than that. This is before the speech. And after the speech, pause and reflect. Pause and reflect. What could I have done better? And try to get recordings of your speech if possible. Right? Now, the goal over here is, suppose you have to give a speech in the next 10 minutes. So I say, right now, Hema, you know what? You've got 10 minutes to talk about this. So all you got to do is pick up Michelangelo's compass and say, posture, okay. Gestures, all right. Find my story. What's my story? This is about, say, making a presentation on people skills. So in my life, how have I managed people? Oh yeah, that was that one incident. Okay, great. Find my story. Story, tell my story. How am I going to present it? I can't just say I manage somebody. I will look at the entire story. Okay, this is what happened. This is how we started. This is what I said. This is what I did. Oh, by the way, I need to put in emotions. I was very upset when I was trying to manage this person. You start putting the emotions in. And at the end of it, and people, if you all want to manage people, here is what we need to do. So here's what I urge you to do. You put a call to action at the end. So you may not get time to do these last two bits, but you have Michelangelo's compass, and you can do your speech in 5 minutes and do it confidently in 5 minutes. If you have 2 weeks to practice, like Abraham Lincoln, my goodness, you can do these 2 bits as well, which is the sharing and the pausing, reflecting, and you can make this a really powerful compass. So did you like Michelangelo's compass? Does it make sense? Yeah. Do you think you'd be able to use this in your day-to-day life and whenever you want to make a speech? Do you think this will be helpful? Alrighty, great. Great, good stuff, good stuff. Call to action has to motivate. Yes, call to action has to motivate. Absolutely, absolutely. So we've come towards the end of this this workshop. So we're going to do a little bit of a visualization. Let's try and see how this works. So everybody, eyes closed, sit straight. Okay, take a deep breath in. Keep your spine arched. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of a mountain. And this mountain, you can see it as a snow-capped mountain. There's snow on it. And as I snap my fingers, the seasons start changing. So the snow drips off and falls off the mountain, but the mountain's right there. And you can see the mountain in its glory, this big, tall mountain. And you can see the summer sun beating down on the mountain as the birds flock around it. And you can see the tiny little seeds of grass starting to grow on this mountain. And the season has changed, but the mountain remains the same, this big, strong mountain. And then after some time, the seasons change again. And this time it's raining. There are thunderstorms, there are massive thunderstorms, and the lightning attacks the mountain. But the mountain is unfazed. It's big, it's strong, it's right there, no matter what happens around it. And then the seasons change again, and it's back again to a snow-capped mountain. There are avalanches happening on this mountain. And you can see the snow falling down. You can hear the snow rumbling, but the mountain is right there, steady as it was. Now I want you to walk into that mountain. And now you become that mountain. As you enter that mountain, your head is above the mountain, your arms are at the sides of the mountain, and waist down, you are into the earth, and you are that mountain. And I snap my fingers and the seasons change again. There are blizzards, there are snowstorms, there are avalanches. And these avalanches are around you. And the strength of the mountain is you, and there's nothing changing with you. You're right there. And this blizzard's happening around you, and it's just going down. And there's nothing happening to you. And you can feel the strength at your sides. You can feel the strength of the mountain at your waist as you are rooted into the earth. And then the seasons change again. And there's this hot sun that's beating down, and all the ice is melted. And there are birds around, plants are growing, and shrubbery and weeds are growing, and animals racing. and they're digging into the mountain, but you're right there, steady and strong, with your arms at the side into the earth. And as you look down at this mountain, you're strong and huge and large and big. And then I snap my fingers again, and here the seasons change back again. And as the seasons change, there's rain and thunderstorms and showers beating down on this mountain, and there's winds blowing through. But the mountain remains stable, you remain stable. Your strength lies with the earth, your strength lies at the sides, your strength lies all around you, and you are stable. No matter what happens in your life, you are stable, you are strong as this mountain. No matter what changes happen. You will always be this way, like this mountain. You will always be strong. You will always be stable, no matter who says what to you, no matter what happens in your life, no matter how many times the seasons keep changing. You're going to be strong and stable, rooted into the earth, strong like this mountain, stable like this mountain. Now for a moment, reflect on that. Very good, you're doing very good. You're strong, stable, confident, powerful, like this mountain. You are the mountain. And now slowly open your eyes. How are you feeling? Yes, Kritika, how are you feeling?
Oh wow, I thought I was dreaming.
Nice,
I
nice.
became the mountain.
Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling?
Yeah, to be honest, it's 1 a.m. here, so I'm feeling in a dream state right now. Yeah, but it was really, really real. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Thank you so much, Heba. Feeling strong. What about you, Kusetti? How are you feeling? Kusetti is typing. Good, sir. Okay, Yash, Atik, Chandrakant, how are you feeling? Najima, how are you doing? Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so folks, we have come to the end of the session. And I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope there were some useful tips and tools, that you could take back. Do remember Michelangelo's compass. Okay, it will always help you throughout any phase in your life. And all of those stories that we did today, go through them once. If you go through them once tomorrow and remember those stories, thank you, Hema. If you go through those stories, this will become second nature. You'll be able to do this in 5 minutes. Gesture, posture, and automatically spruce up, stand up, and say, okay, here's what my story is. Here's what I need to do. Here's the emotion. Okay, let's go for it. And you can do that. And keep practicing this. My only feedback to you, input to you would be fail fast. Fail fast. Keep practicing, keep failing. And as you keep failing faster and faster, you'll keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Thank you, Chandrakant. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you so much. You're feeling strong. Amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much. What questions do you have? We'll keep it open 5 minutes for some questions. And then we will... thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kusetti. Thank you so much, Yash. There are 5 minutes for questions, and then we will wrap up the session, because I know it's pretty late, and it's late for Kritika, and we've run over some time. Plus here it is already nearly nearing 11. So Kritika, I really appreciate the fact that you are bright and awake right up till 1 a.m. Yeah, that shows your passion. So very, very good. Very good. Okay, so folks, questions. 5 minutes. There's a trick I'm going to show you, by the way. Whenever you ask people for questions in the audience, it's called pause. It's called pause, pause, pounce. 3 P's. Pause is you ask the question, and typically in a human being's mind, it takes 5 seconds to register a response. 15 seconds, sorry. My bad. 5 seconds. 5 seconds to register a response. After 5 seconds, if nobody's answering, so you say this to yourself. So Hema has asked the question, and she says, okay, guys, what do you all think about the speech today? Hema in the mind goes, Hema 1, Hema 2, Hema 3, Hema 4, Hema 5, 5 seconds. So she's posed the question. Then that 5 seconds is the pause. And then Hema looks at the audience and says, so Chandrakant, pounds. So Chandrakant, tell me, how did you like the session today? And then, Chandrakant knows that questions come to me, and he's got some time to think. So he opens up and says, okay, so that's the technique. Pause for 5 seconds, and pounce. Again, you pounce on an audience member. Okay, so let me. Yes, Chandrakant. See, there you go.
Sir, I can't fluently in English.
No
I
problem.
am Hindi word.
अरे आप हिंदी में बताओ, चलेगा, हिंदी में बताओ.
हाँ, आपका जो सेशन है बहुत अच्छा लगा सर.
थैंक यू सो मच चंद्रकांत, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. आपको क्या
और
अच्छा
जो
लगा, सबसे अच्छा क्या लगा आपको, आप क्या यूज करने वाले हो आज?
ये आपने जो बताया, आई एम द फोर्स बिहाइंड द फाइट, आई एम फाइटर, ये बहुत अच्छा लगा. इससे स्ट्रेंथ आ गई हमारी इसमें भी.
अरे वाह, बहुत बढ़िया. Let's give him a round of applause. That's wonderful. He says he's got strength. Very nice. Kudos to you, Chandrakant. Very nice. So see guys, the 3Ps work. Right? Fantastic. So what questions do you have? What questions? And guys, see, check out the question I'm asking. I know I'm throwing a lot of tips towards the end, but I love sharing, so I'm going to tell you. Do I conduct sessions only in English? No, I do it in Hindi as well. But English is my forte, so you know, most of my training sessions are in English. I do pro bono in Hindi when I work with CSR, but that's about it. I haven't done a lot of Hindi sessions. But thank you for that question. English, yes. You work with SHGS. I don't. What is SHGS? So self-help groups. Oh, I see. Yeah, please do connect. Be more than helpful. You know, we can always work on that. So I do sessions on sales. I do sessions on presentation skills, people management, influencing skills, stakeholder management, conflict. I do a lot of sessions on conflict management. You know, all of these. So because they're all corporate, they're all ending up. You know, we always end up with English. So leadership skills, how to manage your team, how to get people to work together, and all of those bits. Yes, I'll do that definitely. Yeah. So, and I'll put in my website as well, so just in case you want to connect.
Yes.
Put this in over here. And you just put this in Google, you should be able to that's not the exact website, but put that in, you should be able to get it. Okay. Yes, I will connect. Okay, I will definitely connect with you, Kritika. Please, on LinkedIn, you can connect with me. My name is on LinkedIn. That's because I do a lot of life coaching, business coaching, so executive coaching. So that's Coach Dexter. So for the session, what other questions, guys? We'll give you 2 minutes more. 2 minutes more. What questions do you have? I'm just going to copy the chat in the meantime. What questions do you have about, you know, yourself? So do you feel that you are better prepared now? Because Kritika, I know you said that earlier as well. And I think Kusetti also said earlier, you or somebody, I think there was another gentleman earlier. So do you feel that you're better prepared now to be able to take on speeches?
Yes.
I'll just share something real quick. What I really liked is that, you know, you mentioned that you don't need to tell every single story of yours, but you just select and, you know, you keep it short and simple, I suppose. I think my issue was over preparedness and, you know, like going into too much preparation and all that stuff. So I think and you just chill and cut it down and just slice up my story.
So Kritika, whenever you are preparing for your speech, look at your compass and look at that part that says find your story. So that's your anchor point under Marie Curie. Find your story. So find the nuggets in your life or the pieces that you would like to play. So that will be really helpful. Yeah. So thank you so much, Kritika, for sharing. I think very brave of you to do that. Appreciate it. So what about you, Kusetti, Hema, Chandrakant, Yash? Yash, what questions do you have, my dear? And we have
first of all, thank you so much. जो आपका आज का सेशन था, it is so good. एक इसने एनर्जी भरी है आप अभी इस टाइम पे, तो this is like something very very amazing for me.
Thank you.
क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था कि जिस तरीके से कि आपने बोला कि हम लोगों से बात कर सकते हैं, तो बट हमें उनसे आई कांटेक्ट बना करके करना चाहिए. बट मैंने सोसाइटी में ऐसा भी देखा है कि कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि जब आप उनसे बात कर रहे हो तो वो मतलब कि कुछ क्वेश्चंस, ट्रिकी क्वेश्चंस खेलते हैं कि उनसे मतलब कि हम बात नहीं कर पाते उस तरीके से. फिर मतलब कि प्रोफेशनल नहीं आ पाता उसमें ना।
तो उसमें ना एक बहुत ही सिंपल ट्रिक है यश, उसको वहां पे आप बोलोगे कि if you can answer the question, of course you can, but if you can't answer the question, I would say never half-baked answer kabhi bolna mat. So you want to say something like, that's a great question, typical standard, trick, which is, that's a great question. And I like to keep that in the parking lot and give it more of my attention before I answer that question. Is that okay with you? Always ask permission and, give a lot of value to that question and say, that's a really important question. And I don't want to just answer it for the sake of answering it. I want to give it a lot of more thought and maybe connect you with the right people who can answer that question. So
Actually, I'm just searched you on LinkedIn and I'm just messaging you.
Arey, I'm talking, you're not listening to me, so horrible. No, I'm just messing with you, man. Don't worry. But yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, but you got what I'm saying, right? So the answer is to make sure that people in the audience always feel valued. That's the intention. The intention is never conflict. The intention is making sure people in the audience always feel valued. So when you speak to them, you got to tell them that that's a good question, and let me add, let me spend some time on that question, and I'd like to do that if that's okay with you. Because you're telling them that you're telling them, hey, you know what? That's a really good question, and I'm going to give it more thought than I'm going to give it right now. So I really value what you're saying. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
It comes under my experience. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. No, people typically say, let's put it in the parking lot, but I feel that's a very standard cliched answer. That's what I was thinking of telling you initially. But then, if you really want to make an impression, then you've got to give value. Yeah. One more thing, guys, everybody in this room, please remember, whenever you're speaking to people, always give them value. Give them value. Give them value. And they'll love you for it. They'll come back again. And look at the comments over here, right? So the same thing for you. Give people value through your speech. And that's what's going to help. All right.